What's up, y'all? And welcome to your final week of NFL football. Actually, this isn't uh, a final week of NFL football. Actually, this isn't football. This is the final week of capping football. That's what I meant to say. Welcome to the final week of me capping football for the regular season. The final regular season is upon us. Oh, God, it's like I'm fumbling over my words, like saying shit incorrectly. The final week of the NFL season is here, and we're going to cap these games. Or at least I'm going to try. So I looked at the games, and holy shit, this is the hardest week of the year. Did you guys look at these games? Hard. So this week, trying to figure out who's going to win just on the money line is the hardest that it's been all season. Trying to figure out who's going to win the spreads seems like most of them are total coin flips this week. So I just want to let you know, I don't have a good feel for what the hell the NFL is going to do for sure. I have a few ideas. I have a few guesses in some of the directions, but there's so many different playoff scenarios that they could throw at us that just trying to figure out something as simple as which way they're going to go on Colts, Texans, which way they're going to go on Dolphins, Bills, which way they're going to go on Steelers, Ravens, which way they're going to go on Buccaneers and Panthers, and then Falcons and Saints. There's so many different matchups in seeding changes, so I have to try and figure out which storyline they want to set up in each conference. And like I said, trying to get all these matchups just right to get the playoff brackets to line up just right how I like it. Very sketchy to pick games like that. So, you guys ready? All right. So here's what we're going to do. Instead of talking about it, we're going to use the playoff machine to help us. And so you can find this through ESPN. So check it out. I have not made up my decision, Mike Mack, so I'm not giving you official picks. I'm going to run through different scenarios and playoff matchups, and then you guys can comment and help me decide if you think they're going to do that or not. And then if any of you guys has any juicy insider info, any of you gematria guys out there got the numbers that you can pull out of your ass, whatever it is that you think you got, I'm open to all suggestions. Because here's the deal, guys. The teams that are resting players, that doesn't mean they're automatically going to lose. The teams that have to win to get in, that doesn't mean they're automatically going to win. I've seen this show before. And this show, let me tell you, one of those teams, maybe two, that are resting guys, are going to win, even though they're playing all their backups. One of them damn teams playing their backups is going to show up and look great and win no matter what. And then one of them teams you think is going to be in the playoffs and all they got to do is win to get in is going to blow it and not be in the playoffs. I've seen this show before. Now, I don't know for sure which of those teams is going to blow it. And I don't know for sure which of the teams that's resting guys is going to win. But I'm telling you, one of them damn resting teams is going to win. So if you think, oh, this team's quarterback's not playing, so for sure that's a dead. Week 17 is a damn minefield. All right. Hi, Rose. So, announcement to anyone who's not a football content fan. I'm going to do a non-football stream tomorrow night. So, Rose, you and Jonna and any of the non-football content fans, I'll be doing a stream tomorrow, 100% no football stream. I won't even talk to the football comments. So tomorrow night will be the non-football stream, and I'll try and just make it all about goofing off and comedy and talking about the scripted news. But for tonight is all about football. I got to please both audiences. Okay, so check it out. This playoff machine is on ESPN, and you can pick the final, you can pick all the winners, and it will spit out the playoff bracket. So for instance, let's say the Steelers win. Let's say the Texans win. Let's say the Bucks win. Let's say Bengals win. Let's say Lions win. Pats, Saints, Jags, Seahawks, Packers, Chargers, Broncos, Eagles, Rams, Cowboys, and Bills. All right. So if this was to happen, you see how it updates the bracket for you? So just that alone, just me going through and doing that without thinking about it, you end up with Jordan Love going on the road to play the Dallas Cowboys. That's a solid matchup. You got Matt Stafford going to go play his old team, the Lions. That has to happen. So check it out. Any sort of thing that makes Stafford not play the Lions, that ain't going to happen in my book. So if I change any of this shit around too much and we get Lions, Packers a third time, that's not, I don't think that they're going to do that. So if I change these games around too much, then I get rid of this juicy Stafford Lions matchup. So I feel like this matchup has to happen. Don't you guys agree that the Stafford Lions matchup has to happen? The Rams-Lions matchup, that seems to have to happen for the NFL to play that storyline out. Stafford goes back to Detroit to play them in the playoffs. Too juicy. Right? So what I'm saying is, if one little thing changes, like Giants, no, not that one. Let's see. Yeah, see, where is it? Let me change it to all the home teams win. All the away teams win. There. I was looking for a way to change the matchup. See, check it out. If you change any of these games too much, you can end up getting Dallas Rams, and that matchup already happened, and Dallas won and covered easily. And then you would get Detroit, Green Bay a third time. I don't think we need to see that. So I think we have to have Stafford go play the Lions. So in order to make that happen, these games got to go down in a certain way to where it happens just like that. So there's so many different matchups that can go down here. And so trying to figure out exactly which storyline they're going to run with is quite difficult. Kevin Jones says, and of course, Baker beats Philadelphia NFC South. Not so fast, because I think that the Panthers can upset the Bucks, and then the Saints get in. See, so right here, you see that the Saints are in there. In this scenario right here, you'd have Jacksonville going on the road to take on Miami. Buffalo loses to Miami, but still gets in the playoffs and goes back to Kansas City. Cleveland going to play Indianapolis. See, so some of these matchups I just don't like. I just don't think they work. So I'm trying to figure out what's the most juicy matchups we can get. So I start playing with the different matchups. So let's just clear it and we'll start it all the way over. Thanks, Kevin, for the donation. I appreciate that. So check it out. Yes, sometimes they do have division rivals play a third time, but that would mess up the Stafford going back to play the Lions storyline, which to me is gigantic. Stafford has to get matched up to play the Lions here because Rams going to play the Lions. That's such a juicy matchup. It didn't happen already. And so for it to happen in the playoffs, it will be, and they've already talked about it. To me, they already set the table. I doubt that they're going to swerve on their own gold mine of a game. They know that they're going to get big ratings on that game. They know they're going to get big bets on both sides. So I don't think they're going to swerve out of that matchup. Now, there's a scenario where the Dolphins can beat the Bills, but the Bills get in anyway and then play the Dolphins again a third time. But I don't think they're going to rerun Dolphins Bills a third time because it would happen in Miami and then you'd have back-to-back Bills Dolphins. So, like I said, let's take a look at the playoffs from last year, the bracket, and I'll show you guys that I think we're going to get at least 2 new teams on each side, possibly 3 new teams on each side. So you can look at the bracket from last year and then see which teams made it last year and figure out how many new teams are going to get in. Or at least have an idea of how many. The NFL likes to usually include 3 new teams per conference. So this is last year's playoffs. We know that the Chargers aren't going to make it. And we know that the Bengals are not going to make it. So that's 2 new teams for sure in the AFC. And then in the NFC, the Giants are out. And you can rest assured that the Vikings and the Seahawks probably aren't going to go. At least one of them's out for sure. The Seahawks are most likely out for sure. So you're looking at 2 to 3 new teams in the NFC, possibly 4 new teams if the Bucks were to blow their final game. So the Bucks could be knocked out, Minnesota knocked out, and Seahawks knocked out. The Giants are already out. So we could have possibly 4 new teams in the NFC. Expect at least 3. Expect 3 new markets because they aren't going to replay the same playoff teams from last year. So I don't think we're going to end up with a Cowboys Bucks again. And it makes me think that last year, check it out. Check this out. I also figured this out. Last year you had Jags, Dolphins, Bucks. That's all 3 Florida teams. You really think they're going to let all 3 Florida teams in again, back-to-back years? I think one of the Florida teams got to go. So that means the Bucks could definitely blow their final game to the Panthers, get knocked out. You might see the Jags get knocked out. You might see both them teams get knocked out. I don't see all 3 Florida teams going back-to-back years. See what I'm saying? So just looking over what they've done in the past, you can kind of get an idea that, like, okay, the Steelers making it, that's a new team. The Colts making it, that's a new team. The Texans making it, that's a new team. On the NFC side, the Packers making it would be a new team. Who else? Let me take a look real quick. The Lions would be a new team, and the Rams would be a new team. So you got new teams in the mix, and I definitely think those new teams, at least 3 on each side, are getting in to keep new markets intrigued and watching the playoffs and excited for their team. Coke Master D says Tyreek Hill goes back to KC. Josh Allen gets in. I'm going to get to that. We're going to get back. I'm going to go back to the playoff machine, and we're going to go over like all those different scenarios. I'm going to show you like several different scenarios and why I think one will happen and one won't happen. I'm going to go through all that. Even games you don't think that don't matter, some of them do. Okay. And thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. I think I missed a super chat as well. Let me make sure. One second, guys. Sometimes I get carried away talking and I miss super chats, and it looks like I did. Stephen Bowman says, Jake, I think they really want Hill going back to Arrowhead and Stafford playing Detroit. Green Bay has history versus Dallas. Yeah, check it out. There's two scenarios. Dallas and Green Bay in that first round game, which that hasn't happened this season, so that would be a fresh matchup. But check this out. If Dallas was to lose the final week to the Commanders and the Eagles beat the Giants, Eagles then win the division, become the second seed, and then you'd have the Packers going to play the Eagles. See, so you could have Packers going to play the Cowboys or Packers going to play the Eagles, and both of those would be intriguing matchups, in my opinion. And I'll get more into that in a minute. So just looking at last year's bracket, like I said, we can figure out, okay, at least 3 teams on each side, new teams, are most likely getting in. Let me go back to the playoff machine and we'll roll through a bunch of different scenarios. All right. So a lot of you guys might be under the impression that like the loser of the Buffalo and Dolphins game is out or something. No, the Dolphins are already in. And if Buffalo loses, they're not automatically out. So there's a scenario where Buffalo loses and is still in. And so I've went over all the different scenarios. So check it out. This first game, the Ravens are supposedly resting their starters. So they supposedly don't care. But it seems like the public's on them anyway. So you might have a team that just wins anyway. Or the Steelers might win. They might put the Steelers in the playoffs. I'll show you guys a few scenarios. So let's say the Steelers do win in Baltimore. Let's say the Colts beat the Texans. Panthers upset Bucks. Bengals beat the Browns. The Browns are locked into their spot. Whether the Browns win or lose, nothing happens. So just expect the Browns to lose because nothing happens if they win or lose. And they're giving the Browns like 7 free points or something, which means they're probably for sure going to get beat bad. Okay, let's say Lions, Saints, Jags, Seahawks. There we go. Boom. Boom. All right. So in this scenario, you got Indy going to Buffalo. Miami goes back to Kansas City. Cleveland plays Jacksonville. And if Jacksonville was to lose, then you'd have Pittsburgh going to play Buffalo, Miami going to play Kansas City, Cleveland going to play Indianapolis. I've went over this. There's only 3 teams the Browns can play, and they've already beaten all 3 of those teams. So I've flipped all the switches, all the different ways you can flip the switches. And the only teams that the Browns can play are the Colts, and they already beat the Colts this year. And then let's say if the Texans were to win the division, Cleveland beat the Texans already, but they had Case Keenum at quarterback. So they could replay this matchup and say that this time Houston's got Stroud. So this time they have a better shot at winning. You know, they could replay that angle. But Cleveland already did beat Houston earlier this year. And the Jags, if the Jags win the division, Cleveland already beat the Jags. So all 3 teams that could possibly play the Browns already beat them. See what I'm saying? So none of those matchups to me are exciting, but we're stuck with one of those damn matchups. What do you guys think who's it gonna be? Who's gonna play the Browns out of those 3 teams? Indianapolis, the Texans, or Jacksonville? You see what I'm saying? Because if we're stuck with Hill going to play Kansas City, if you guys want that storyline, then somehow we got to end up with like CJ Stroud going to play Buffalo, or Gardner Minshew going to play Buffalo, or Jacksonville going to play Buffalo. So if Jacksonville loses, or we could get this Pittsburgh going to play Buffalo. See here? That's not too shabby, huh? What do you guys think of that one? This one's not too shabby because the Steelers would be a new team, and they're one of those franchises that has a big fan base. So you could get Pittsburgh getting knocked off in the first round by the Bills, and then Miami with the Tyreek Hill going back to play Kansas City. Looks like I missed a super chat. Okay, Ill Subliminal says they want Rams Lions, which is why they got screwed last week in Dallas. I think it's a Packers versus Cowboys storyline because Mike McCarthy ties. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. So check it out. Here's a scenario where Dallas, if they were to lose to the Commanders and the Eagles win, then you would get Packers, Eagles. Jordan Love goes to the city of brotherly love. Is that a storyline? Jordan Love goes on the road to the city of brotherly love to play the Eagles. And then you get Dallas going on the road to play New Orleans in the first round. Possible. New Orleans even upsets Dallas in the first round. You know, could happen. But in this scenario, one thing I like about this scenario is then you could get Detroit Eagles in the second round, which is a juicy matchup. And then Dallas goes to play San Francisco in a rematch. You see, so this matchup right here is quite juicy because if you have the Eagles win the division, then you get this Green Bay versus Dallas in the first round. But then if Detroit beats the Rams, then we get a rematch of Dallas and Detroit. Do we really want to see the rematch of Dallas and Detroit? I think Detroit going to play Philadelphia is more intriguing, personally. But a Dallas-Detroit rematch after that meltdown at the end of the game, that 2-point conversion scripted bunch of bullshit, they might run that again. So I'm trying to look ahead, but you guys, they hold all the cards. So trying to figure out exactly what scenarios they're going to do. You got to flip the switches a lot of different ways. And so that means, like, I don't even know who's going to win these money lines, let alone cover the damn spreads. All right, there's a ton of comments coming in, so let me try and go over some of these. First one, of course, is going to be this super chat. It says, thanks for all the great picks. We bet them all and have made tons. You bet them all and made tons? Damn, I wish I did that. I don't make tons on my picks. Anytime I pass on a pick, that one wins. That's been the story of my betting this year. Is any of the ones I'm like, I don't know, I think I'm going to pass, that one wins. And then the ones I love a lot, 50-50. But I have done well on my upsets. So one thing I have been able to stay afloat on is that I have nailed several of my own upsets. But I'm not rolling in the money because I don't bet big. And I've always been honest that, like, this is scripted. They hold all the cards. It's pretend football. I never feel confident. Like what I'm doing right now, guys, I have no clue what matchups they're going to run. This is the best guessing that I can do is just flip all these switches around and then be like, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, are they going to do that? Because if I flip one little switch, blue, everything can change real damn fast. And thank you for the donation. That's really generous of you. All that glitters is old. So hopefully you made a boatload of money on my picks, and I appreciate you throwing the channel a donation. Watch, if I flip just the Miami switch, watch out how much changes. I'm just going to flip the Miami switch. Bloop! Now we would end up with Dolphins versus Buffalo part 3, which I don't think they're going to do. And then Kansas City, Pittsburgh, that's not very intriguing. See, so that makes me think that Buffalo has to win that final game against the Dolphins in order for us to get that Tyreek Hill goes back to Kansas City's game. And, you know, there's a part of me that really likes the damn Colts because everybody and their mama expects the Texans. So a part of me thinks that they're just going to have Minshew win, and they're going to give the Colts fans a bone and let them just get eliminated in the first round. Whoever plays the Browns has to get eliminated in the first round in order to set up Flacco goes back to play the Ravens. See, guys, how I'm like trying to stay like 2-3 steps ahead of them. In order for us to get Flacco versus the Ravens, the Browns have to upset whoever they play in this first matchup in the first round. So you pretty much have to expect, if we're going to see Flacco goes back to play the Ravens, if we're going to see that happen, the new Browns go back to play the old Browns. If we're going to in the playoffs. If we're going to see that happen, then that means that whoever wins and gets the 4th seed is going to be the sacrificial lamb for sure, right? That's powerful knowledge, right? But it's the NFL, so nothing's for sure. A guy, 626 Lunatic says, your storyline for upsets has made me money. Thank you. You're welcome. So check it out. A lot of people are on the Texans this week. A lot of people bet the Texans to go to the playoffs. Hardly anyone bet the Colts to win the division. Do you guys realize most everybody who bet on a team to win the South took the Jags? So to have the Jags get bounced and the Colts win the division, they could take a fat pile of money off the table just by having the Colts get in. And the Colts are a team that has history. They've won 2 Super Bowls. They've been around since the beginning of the league. Like, the Colts are a historic team with the league, whether they're popular right now or not. You see? And the people in Indiana, they love them. They'll fill that building up. They'll sell that shit out for the Browns. So whoever gets that first game is going to lose to the Browns if we're going to see Flacco go play the Ravens. So having the Colts win here and then just lose the first round isn't, to me, that out of the realm of possibility. Having CJ Stroud get thumped in the first round, I don't know if they need to do it. CJ Stroud is already going to be a star, and they're already sold on him. So I don't think they have to put CJ Stroud in there just to get beat. Because I don't think they're going to have Houston beat Cleveland in that game. So are they going to have CJ Stroud get thumped in front of his own home crowd in the playoffs? Is that really what they need? I think he's already going to be a future star. But having a rookie in the mix does make sense. So it's tough. It's a tough call. Check it out. For those of you who don't like the football stuff, football ends in like a month and a few weeks. It's going to be over, and I'm not going to talk about it, okay? So all you non-football fans, I'm going to do a stream tomorrow for you with no football. Tomorrow night, non-football stream, and football ends. It's not year-round. You're going to have me talking about other things, I promise. Last year, when the season ended, I automatically started talking about other things, the scripted news and whatnot. Started breaking down those fake bang bang and pow pow operations. So I'm going to be recording new music once the season ends. I'm finishing out the season to keep the NFL fans happy. And then when the season's over, they're going to bounce and the numbers are going to drop. And then I'm going to go back to regular content like I usually do before I talked about football. And I got new music that I plan on releasing. So I have a whole plan, and I'm going to please everybody to the best of my ability. Okay? So let's continue. Yes, so I think the story for Joe Flacco ends when he goes to Baltimore and gets his ass whipped. That's what's I think that's how the story ends for Joe Flacco. The Browns do win this first matchup, whether it's against Stroud, Minshew, or Trevor Lawrence. And then Flacco goes back to play the Ravens and gets his ass whooped. That's the end of that. That's what I see in my head, at least. All right. So let's just say I got it right here. Check out the playoff scenario I have here. Cleveland beats Houston, or the Colts, or the Jags, no matter what. And then Baltimore beats Flacco. And then you got Kansas City. They're going to beat the Dolphins. They're going to go on the road to play the Bills. Buffalo is going to be the money favorite because they won the first time these guys played. People will expect Buffalo to win. Kansas City's going to beat Buffalo on the road. And then you're going to get Mahomes going on the road to play Baltimore. I see Chiefs, Baltimore in the AFC title game. Over in the NFC, I really like the matchup right here where the Cowboys play on the road at New Orleans and the Bucs are out, because we already saw Dallas versus the Bucs last year. So this year, Dallas versus New Orleans. Dallas wins and goes on to play the 49ers. Detroit beats the Rams and goes on to play Philadelphia in Philadelphia. So then you'd have your nice Dallas Niners rivalry. Lions going on the road to play Philadelphia. That's pretty juicy. I think those are some really solid, juicy matchups right there. And then from there, I don't know. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I'm not trying to pick every little matchup all the way to the end. I'm just trying to keep all the next matchups in order. And to me, this lineup right here, well, except for the AFC, I don't think I like the Jags in there. I feel like the Jags are going to blow it and somehow flop out because we haven't heard hardly shit about Trevor Lawrence lately. That's another thing. I haven't seen much promotion for Trevor Lawrence. They were promoting him a lot more heavy last year and at the beginning of the season, but then that seems to have fallen off. He's lost games, not looked as good. I know they won last week against the Panthers, like 26-0, but Jags falling out, that could make a lot of sense. Stephen Bowman says Bills, Kansas City would be nice. Pat, first road playoff game. Yeah, see, Mahomes has to go on the road. And in order for that to happen, a team like Miami would have to be the second seed, or Buffalo would have to be the second seed. And Cleveland would have to win. You see what I'm saying? In order to make sure that matchup like happen. So yeah, this time Mahomes going to Buffalo, everyone would bet Buffalo. Buffalo would be the favorite, and then Kansas City pulls the upset. I really think Kansas City is going. I think they're going back, dude. I really do. Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl, y'all. That's going to draw probably 10 million extra viewers. Taylor Swift losing in the first round. That don't make fucking sense. Taylor Swift losing in the second round. I feel like Taylor Swift being at the Super Bowl makes sense. You know who I see on TV every day? Patrick Mahomes. Every day, man. Well, I don't watch TV every day, but because I'm always on the internet. What I do see is the internet commercials. So like whenever I see ads online, it's always Mahomes, Mahado, State Farm Mahomes shit, Andy Reid getting some of those nuggies. So I see advertising, which involves the Chiefs every day whenever I'm scrolling online and I run into an ad. And then if I'm anywhere where there is a game going on, you know what I mean? If I'm walking around in a casino, they got a game going on. On every commercial break, you're seeing ads featuring Mahomes. Mahomes is still the poster boy of the league. Let's not forget. All right. And so having Mahomes in the Super Bowl going for a back-to-back title is a huge possibility, a very strong possibility. So I don't want people thinking that the Chiefs suck this year because, you guys, it's pretend football. And if they can trick you into thinking that the Chiefs suck, you won't bet on them to make it back to the Super Bowl. But by the time they get there, then you'll be like, oh, I guess they don't suck. Here's all that has to happen. Kelsey just isn't washed. The guys who are dropping balls like Tony and Scantlin and whoever the fuck, like they start catching balls. So that's it. Guys just start catching balls, and Kelsey just starts going off, and then automatically the Chiefs are like back to being great. It's that simple. Ronaldo Flores says Texans, Packers, Bills thoughts. Well, I'm giving my thoughts on all of it right now, bro. I'm like spewing tons of thoughts. So my thing is, Kansas City going on the road to play Buffalo does sound like such a juicy matchup. And Hill going back to play Kansas City is a juicy matchup. So that means in order for that to happen, Bills have to beat the Dolphins. So that to me already that means I have that game already picked. That now the Bills pretty much have to beat the Dolphins in order to get this matchup. The question is, do the Steelers make it? Because they can lose this first game and still make it. Or is it something like this? Or something like this, Would they have Stroud go get thumped in Buffalo in the first round? I don't think they're going to have Stroud go on the road in Buffalo and get his ass handed to him. I don't know. That doesn't seem right. Seems like it would make more sense if you're going to have Buffalo whoop somebody, that they would whoop Indianapolis and Gardner Minshew. Right? And then he can take the loss. Perhaps they throw Stroud in there and have him keep it close and go down swinging in a tight game against the Bills. I don't know. What do you guys think of this matchup right here? I'm focusing on the AFC side right now because to me this is the harder thing. You don't need to call me a fuckhead. You realize I'm the guy who has control of banning you from the channel. So, for instance, I'll flex a little bit of my power and I'm going to put you in a timeout. See? So, watch yourself. Stephen Bowman says Lamar wins MVP. Kansas City goes back to the Super Bowl and loses to what? Dallas? No one has repeated since the GOAT Tom Brady in 04 and 05. Yeah, well, in order for them to make it look like Mahomes is the new Brady and has a shot at catching up to Brady in his rings, he could be the first guy who comes along and repeats since Brady. Right? You got to have a new face of the league. You can't just live off the ghosts of the past, right? So Brady was the new Joe Montana, and now Mahomes is the new Brady. So in order to fully cement his legacy, he needs two. But I was also thinking Eagles Chiefs rematch, and this time the Eagles win. What about that? Eagles Chiefs rematch, Eagles win? Is that off the table? Eagles Chiefs rematch? No matter what the brackets are, no matter what I do, Eagles Chiefs rematch. You got the Kelsey brothers again. You got Swift in the Super Bowl and Swift on the Eagles, right? So I think Super Bowl rematch is still in the cards and not to be considered for sure not going to happen. And plus you had the Eagles win that matchup earlier in the year. And then last year, the Chiefs won that matchup. So that would be a very, very close, tough to call game for a lot of people. You definitely get money on both sides. All right, let me show you guys something. I don't know if this means anything, but I'm going to show you. Okay, the NFL is like the WWE. NFL is WWE football. Let me show you WrestleMania's location and logo. Look at this. See that? Oh, hold on. Forgot to share my screen. Okay, WrestleMania this year. Follow me, guys. WrestleMania is in Philadelphia. Look, WrestleMania logo, the Philadelphia Bell. They're going to be in the Eagles Stadium running WrestleMania in April. WrestleMania is the Super Bowl of sports entertainment, wrestling. Now, seems to me they might open the show by saying, "Welcome to WrestleMania, home of the Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles." And their logo just so happens to be the same as the Eagles colors. I don't know. Seems to me if you're going to model your logo after the team and the city, you wouldn't want to do that if they're going to lose and look shitty, right? So what if this whole ploy where the Eagles are shitty is to keep you off of them because they're going to win the Super Bowl? What about that, huh? Is it impossible? Oh, it's nonsense? Bro, you don't understand how sports entertainment works. The NFL is the WWE, and the WWE is the NFL. They're the same entity. Don't you understand that? You think that this might be, an accident that they end up possibly in the location of the winner of the Super Bowl? And their logo is the winner of the Super Bowl? I don't know. Seems if they get knocked out by the Lions, that logo ain't going to be so cool. Just my thoughts, man. Anything can happen, though. It's pretend football. Anything can happen in pretend football. Marcus Morales says Steelers going with the Mason Hero story. If the Steelers do get in, they're going to get bounced in the first round. No way do the Steelers make it into the second round. I could see the Steelers making the playoffs just to slap everyone in the face who said that they suck and that Tomlin's overrated and not a good coach. They're going to have the Steelers make it and be like, see, Tomlin's a good coach. You guys were wrong. And the NFL totally could pull that card. So I kind of like the Steelers getting in and getting bounced in the first round just because their fan base will watch, their fan base will bet. You know what I mean? So, and that's one of the, and it's a new team that wasn't in last year. So I just wanted to show you guys that a lot of people are off of Philly right now because Philly hasn't looked as good. But if Philly wins their final game against the Giants, which they should, and Dallas loses inexplicably on the road to the Commanders because they're sitting all their guys or whatever, not trying as hard, what have you, we could see the Eagles becoming the 2 seed. See? And nobody will have seen that coming. It's psychology ball, y'all. Remember, we're playing psychology ball. The teams aren't real. They're all on the same team. It's one team trying to trick us and throw us off our game. And I'm here trying to figure it out live. So let's say Cowboys handle business and they win. Then we could get Philadelphia going to play New Orleans and then Green Bay, Dallas. That's decent too. So Sir Law says, where can I make a bet that Taylor Swift moons the Super Bowl audience? With me. How much you want to bet? I'll charge you minus 180. You bet 1,800 or no, 180 to win 100. How about that? Does that sound like a good deal? I'll be your bookie. I'll take that action all day. All right. So like I said, if I go over to the NFC and I flip too many switches, then we don't end up with the Lions-Rams matchup. And I feel like that one has to happen. All right, let's flip a few random switches and check out a few alternate storylines. What if the Dolphins were to somehow beat Buffalo? Are they going to do a third matchup between Dolphins and Buffalo in Miami back-to-back weeks? I don't think so. What if the Bills get eliminated? Would they eliminate the Bills? Would they? Could they? Would they do it? Would they have Miami win? And the Steelers win? And Jacksonville win? Would they? Could they? I don't know. What do you guys think? A random Bills exit the playoffs? Oh my God, can't believe it. It's possible. Here's the thing. One team everyone expects to be there is going to shit the bed. And there's going to be one of these teams that's sitting all their starters that's going to win, even though you don't think they will. Here's why this guy doesn't understand. Dude, it's fake football. Let me show you something. Let me show you a little something. Here's why I don't like the Bucks, and I feel like the Bucks are going to lose to the Panthers. Let me show you why. If we go to like public betting money, look at this. 94% on Tampa to cover the spread and 97% on the money line. Look at this. Everybody thinks Tampa's going to win and cover. Tampa was in last year. Tampa was in the year before. You're going to run Tampa 3 times? I don't think they're going to run Tampa 3 times. And I don't think they're going to have all 3 Florida teams get in. So that means the Jags or the Bucks got to go, if not both of them. Understand? You can't keep running Bucks, because that would leave the Saints fans out in the cold and the Panthers fans out in the cold and the Falcons fans out. There's a scenario where the Falcons could get in. You see what I'm saying? So Bucks lose opens up the door for Falcons or Saints to get in that spot. And I like the Saints to get in that spot because it represents a new team, a different part of the map for the fans to follow in the playoffs. You can't have all 3 Florida teams get in back-to-back years, bro. Come on. At least that's what I think. So, the money is stacked high on the Bucks. So all they got to do is have the Panthers win. Baker Mayfield doesn't get in. And instead, Derek Carr gets in. What's the difference between Derek Carr and Baker Mayfield getting in? You're going to get the same ratings. If the Cowboys go play the Saints, you're going to get the same ratings as if the Cowboys go play the Bucks. I don't want to see Cowboys Bucks because that happened last year in the first round. We already saw that. Cowboys Saints first round. Eagles Saints first round. That's new. See? That's the way I feel like. I don't feel like they're going to rerun the same shit. So I know there's a lot of Bucks fans out there, but the Bucks made it twice in a row. So it's not that I hate the Bucks. I just don't think they're going to run 3 Florida teams out there twice in a row. And I don't think they're going to run the Bucks out there 3 times in a row. When you see 97% of the money is on a team and nobody thinks the Panthers have a shot, that's when the Panthers win. I'm going to run with the Panthers in that game. That's one I have locked in. Panthers beat the Bucks, in my opinion. That's happening. Look, man. Bucks, Eagles. What's the point? The Eagles will win, so then the Bucks would be out anyway. And if the Bucks were to upset, then you'd get Bucks and 49ers. That sucks, dude. No one wants to see Bucks and 49ers, dude. If that happened. You see what I'm saying? Or like any scenario, the Bucks pulling off an upset and moving on. No way. So if somebody's going to lose in that first round, might as well open the door for a new team like the Saints. And there's a scenario, check this out. If the Bucks lose and then the Falcons beat the Saints, then the Falcons would get in. What? Yes, the Falcons can get in with a losing record. Just sit here and think about that for a second. Would they let the Falcons in with a losing record? Would they? Could they? I don't know. You guys think that the NFL would pull that shenanigan? Panthers beat the Bucks. Falcons beat the Saints. Falcons win the division and get a home game with a losing record. They might do that. They're that stupid sometimes. They might pull some stupid crap where the Falcons with a losing record get to host a playoff game. Would they? Could they? Damn it, I don't know. So, no matter what, I feel like, God, I feel like this is the best matchups, in my opinion. Dallas blows the division at the end of the year. Eagles become the 2 seed. Dallas goes on the road to play the Falcons. There could be something there. I don't think that the NFL is going to put the Falcons in specifically because they have a losing record, and people will point at that team and say they don't deserve to be there. So I don't think they're going to put the Falcons in because that losing record is going to stick out, and everyone's going to point at that losing record and be like, that dog shit team does not belong in the playoff. So that's why I think the Saints, since they have a winning record, and if they win that final game, it makes them look like they're at least an actual playoff team. And I think they'll fill up the Superdome quite easily, Cowboys and Saints. They'll fill that place up, and there'll be probably just as many Cowboys fans in the stadium. It'll probably be like a 50-50 game because the Cowboys fans will travel, and they'll be out in full force. And New Orleans, they follow their team pretty hard. So I think Cowboys, New Orleans, Green Bay, Philly. And this sets up Dallas going to play the 49ers. Detroit beats Stafford and goes to play Philly. Those are really juicy matchups, in my opinion. In the AFC, hard to say. Still trying to figure it out. In the AFC, this one looks intriguing to me. Kansas City beats Miami. We get the Tyreek Hill, Kansas City matchup. Mahomes goes on the road to play Buffalo. Buffalo easily knocks off the Steelers. Cleveland beats Stroud. Or Cleveland beats Minshew. Either or. Cleveland and Flacco go to play Baltimore. To me, that's got to be it right there, man. I think that's it, man. No. Go back to the 90s. Back in the 90s, Dallas knocked them out and made it to the Super Bowl a few times. So you can't say Dallas owns or San Francisco owns Dallas, because back in the 90s, the Cowboys won 3 out of 4 Super Bowls. And the Niners only won 1 back then. So, and when they played each other, the Cowboys won plenty of those matchups. It's a long time rivalry. You see what I mean? It's been replayed many times, and it always draws in the ratings. So I think this is a pretty sweet deal. And then you could get in the NFC Championship round, San Francisco Philadelphia rematch, and then this time Philadelphia wins. See? Yeah, but you got to think of history. A lot of people who are older remember the championship Cowboys. It doesn't seem that long ago if you've been alive a little longer than these young bucks. So when people talk about the Cowboys, haven't won in so long, it's like, well, when I was a kid, I remember seeing the Cowboys win 3 Super Bowls, and it's like it doesn't seem that long ago, even though it was, it was over 30 years ago or whatever. But yeah, when I was a kid, I remember those were like the first Super Bowls I remember sitting through as a kid. We're watching the Cowboys whoop the Bills. So my first memories of actually sitting and paying attention and watching like a full game of the Super Bowl and understanding was the Cowboys Bills games. So I have a memory in my head of the Cowboys just smacking teams around in the Super Bowl and winning with ease. So they beat the Bills twice, and then they beat the Steelers in a matter of 3 out of 4 years. And so when I was a kid, it was like, man, I hated that team. I wanted them to lose all 3 of those. Stafford beats Goff. Okay, well, in that case, then the Rams would go play the Niners, and that would be for the 3rd time, and they're division rivals. And then you would get what Dallas and Detroit rematch, but this time Detroit has to go to Dallas. Or I mean, Dallas has to go to Detroit. That could be intriguing. You know what? Stafford or never. No. If Stafford, I'm stupid. If Stafford beats the Lions, then the Lions would be out. That's right. So then Stafford would have to go play the Niners in that case. And then you could get Dallas versus Eagles for a 3rd time. What they could do Dallas versus Eagles for a 3rd time in that case if Stafford was to upset the Lions. Okay, that's a different set of scenarios that would be interesting. Trying to get too far ahead and play it all the way out to the Super Bowl, it can get tricky. All right. Yeah, I do. I don't have Stafford going back to the Super Bowl. No, I have Stafford getting popped in the first round personally. And if he is to get through the first round, for sure they lose the second round. Having the Rams make it to the Super Bowl doesn't make any sense from a money making standpoint, because if they want the most fans and the most people to go to Las Vegas and book rooms and spend money, they'll make way more if the Niners are there than they will if the Rams are there. Here's why I feel like a team like the Niners are also a strong possibility: is the Super Bowl's in Las Vegas, and the Niners are, they're a huge draw in California. California's connected to Nevada. It's a shorter drive. You can drive there, and I think a ton of people would book rooms, buy tickets, spend money, make bets. So I think you would have hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue from Californians if you include the Niners. Now, any big market team is going to draw a bunch of people. So no matter if it's Philadelphia or Dallas or the Niners, any sort of big market team on the NFC side is going to draw. I I just don't see Detroit making it to the Super Bowl for the first Super Bowl ever in Vegas. I see more of a marquee matchup between really big teams. So I think a team like the Rams, they don't have the fan base to push the needle in Las Vegas. So I'm trying to think like ratings wise, you're going to need big markets. And as far as like if they really want to make the most money, having the 49ers make it to the Super Bowl, they're going to guarantee Californians coming into Las Vegas and spending a lot of money. But that WWE logo of the Eagles has me thinking possibly this is the Eagles' year. You guys, I wish I could tell you I felt comfortable about one of these teams, but I don't. All right, here let me show you another thing I found. Um, a lot of people have picked 49ers Ravens because of the Super Bowl colors. So let me show you why I don't think that's going to happen. So if you just type in 49ers Ravens color conspiracy, you'll see it's been covered by all the mainstream outlets. Can we talk about the Super Bowl logo? Super Bowl logo conspiracy theory explained, you guys. They planted the damn theory. So all you guys who are like, I think it'll be the Niners and Ravens because of the colors of the logo. They planted that shit for you. And now they're talking about it. You really think they're going to run it? You really think they're going to let everybody who made a bet on those two teams to meet in the Super Bowl win? You don't even have to have the winner right. If you bet on that specific matchup weeks ago when they planted this shit in your head, they got your money. All they have to do is just not have that happen, and they got your money. If you think you think you outsmarted them, I picked Niners Ravens, and I got Niners to win the whole thing, and I also got Ravens to win the whole thing. Both of them at plus odds. So as long as one of these two things happens, I'm gonna win. Look, they got you figured out. They figured you out. They're the ones that fed that shit to you. Look, it's trending on Twitter. You think they're going to let it trend on Twitter and then do it? I don't think they will. So all you guys who are expecting the color Super Bowl, I think you just fell for the fanboy trap. It's trending. You really think they're going to let everyone win all these playoff games, knowing all along it's a color Super Bowl? All the playoff games are irrelevant. You're just going to make millions of dollars because it's a color Super Bowl and you're so smart because you figured it out. Ha! Good luck. Ain't going to be no damn color Super Bowl. You hear me? Ain't going to be no damn color Super Bowl. And if there is, I'll totally admit I was wrong. I think this time the Niners will beat the Ravens because the Ravens won the last one and then the color of the logo. And it's trending on Twitter and TikTok. Remember last year when they leaked the Super Bowl script that the Eagles were going to win by 3? Remember? And a bunch of people fell for that shit. The leaked Super Bowl script. Yeah, what happened with that shit? Remember who told you that that was shit? Me. If you were here last year, I said that the leaked Super Bowl script last year with the Eagles winning is garbage. And then I picked the Chiefs. And I waited in game and live bet the Chiefs. Won on the Chiefs. So I don't think they're going to let you guys walk away with this color theory this time. So if you already made those bets, you might want to consider hedging. If you already sunk your money into that Ravens Niners pit, let me show you one more time. Do you really think they're going to let every fanboy who ever existed cash in on that easily? You really think it's this easy? Look, here's how you know it's not going to happen. Pat McAfee. Super Bowl preview, Pat McAfee, red team, purple team. If Pat McAfee's involved, he's the NFL poster boy. The NFL has control over this man's words. Everything he says and does is owned. He's a corporate tool. So if he trots out and goes, "Oh, Jake Browning! Wow, who knew Jake Browning's so great? Jake Browning's my boy! Yeah." Oh, suddenly Jake Browning loses. Suddenly ain't so great no more, right? The week after Pat McAfee endorses him. So if Pat comes out and he's like, "Hey, let's get on FanDuel and bet Ravens and Niners right now. This is guaranteed money. Let's guzzle some Bud Light and get on FanDuel and bet Ravens at plus money and bet the Niners at plus money. One of them's guaranteed to happen, right? I mean the colors, right? Stephen Bowman says, "Jake, the NBA leaked the NBA Finals match, Boston Lakers." Yeah, I don't follow the NBA, and I'm not gonna. So anyone who's asked if I'm gonna do NBA, no. The answer is no. I'm not gonna. I never really cared about the NBA, and I still don't care. Not gonna do it. Even for money, I won't do it. You'd have to pay me a lot of money, and even then, I still wouldn't enjoy doing it. You know why? Screw fake basketball. Not nearly as fun to break down. You know why? Because they have magnetic rims. So the worst guy can hit a 3 from half court. You understand that? You can hit 3s from half court if you play with their balls and their rims and they flip the switch. Did you hear that? You could knock 10 balls in from half court in a row if they let you use their technology. Do I really want to waste my time saying, "That was a magnet shot. That was a magnet shot. That was a magnet shot. That was a magnet shot"? That's all I would be doing in every single video. Look, guys, a magnet 3 again. That's why I don't want to cover the NBA. It's all magnet shots. They decide when the ball goes in and when the ball doesn't go in with a flip of a switch. So that's all I would be saying ad nauseum over and over again. And do I want to try and cap basketball games? Hell to the no, I don't. So ain't no basketball capping gonna happen. All right. Thank you for the donation. All right. So any of you guys who already threw your money into the Ravens 49ers pit, your money's gone. It's gone. I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive if you put your money on this shit, yeah, that money's gone. They're using that money right now to pay some players. All right. Let me pull up the playoff machine again. Bloop. You're out of your mind. They're not going to let the Rams win another Super Bowl. They already won their Super Bowl in their building to establish a fan base in LA. And yeah, they're not going to do that again. I promise you the Rams won't win the Super Bowl this year. That's a promise. Jim Kate, well, check it out. That first round game is a sacrificial team. You can't have the Bucks upset and win. You can't have New Orleans. I mean, you could, but both, whether it's the Bucks or whether it's the Saints, I feel like that's a sacrificial lamb. And again, earlier in the stream, I showed all the money is on the Bucks. You guys realize like tens of millions of dollars probably came in on the Bucks. All they got to do is have the Panthers win, and then suddenly the Falcons and Saints winner is in the playoffs. It's as simple as that. Baker Mayfield ain't that big of a it ain't going to be no different of a draw if it's Derek Carr or Baker Mayfield. Understand? In fact, the story that Derek Carr led the Saints to the playoffs, even though he like constantly throws interceptions and he sucks, that's saying something, right? It's not out of the just like the Steelers getting in here. If the Steelers make the playoffs, people talk so much smack about how sucky they were all year and how bad their coach is. They can turn right around and be like, look, the Steelers are in the playoffs and their coach is great. See how that works? So the NFL, they hold all the cards, man. Whatever storyline they want to come up with. So me trying to guess, I'm just doing my best. And I already went over it. The Bucks have all the money bet on them. And the Bucks made it the last 2 years. That means the Bucks gotta go. Simple as that. So anyone here who wants me to pick the Bucks, I'm not gonna do it. Panthers are gonna beat the Bucks. The Bucks went last year and the year before. Screw them. This guy asks if I play fantasy. No. I spend almost way too much of my free time running this damn channel, making the picks for the games and making the top 10 most rigged plays of the week videos. And so I don't have any time for fantasy. I don't want to spend any more time on it. It eats up so much of my time. And so, yeah, no fantasy for me. But good luck to you and your fantasy. I hope your fantasy is the best. All right. AD with a donation says Dallas rigged it. 49ers lose an NFC championship and Ravens will lose an AFC championship to make everyone believe Ravens and Niners are going to the Super Bowl. You know, I could see a possibility where maybe they throw like one team in there that's a smaller market that hasn't won. Like if they throw Buffalo in there, who's never won a Super Bowl, I could see that being a story. But I think they'll make the most money if they have the Chiefs go back and Taylor Swift's there. So I feel like the Chiefs going back and Taylor Swift being there as a business decision. Let's see. Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl means 10 million more viewers. Taylor Swift not at the Super Bowl means 10 million less viewers. I'm just making up a number, but you get what I'm saying. Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl and it being promoted for 2 straight weeks that she's going to be there will probably draw, I don't know, 10 million more damn viewers. Is that worth something to the NFL? I think yes, it is. I think that's a big deal for Taylor Swift to be there. Now, so anybody thinking that the Chiefs are going to get knocked off in the first round or whatever, and she's just going to cry and go home, I don't know about that. All right. Cosina says, thank you for the Raiders upset pick. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for the donation, sir. I appreciate that. I personally had my money go up in flames with the Raiders money line because I won the Raiders money line. And then I turned around and bet Niners -6 and Eagles -13.5, which both lost. So all my Raiders money line went up in flames like immediately. I got to enjoy it for a few minutes. AD says Dallas versus Chiefs matchup Super Bowl would. Yeah. Dallas versus Chiefs is a gigantic matchup. I agree. Cowboys, Indians. Yeah. That would be a really hard game to cap because I could see the NFL letting Dallas hoist the trophy again. You haven't heard that much from Jerry Jones this year. So I could see them hoisting the trophy and beating the Chiefs, keeping them from winning back to back. And I could see the Chiefs winning back to back. If the Chiefs make it, it's going to be really hard to cap because I've seen Tom Brady lose Super Bowls. I've seen Patrick Mahomes lose that Super Bowl to Tom Brady. And so for him going for a back to back here, would they make him lose again? Because last time he was going for a back to back, he lost. Would they make him lose two back to backs? Or would they give him the first ever repeat or since Tom Brady? The first guy to repeat since Tom Brady did. Huh. See, so I'm not comfortable telling you who I think's for sure going to be in the Super Bowl because a lot of these matchups like are intriguing. But I feel like if it comes down to money and business, Taylor Swift and Mahomes got to be there, and Kelsey got to be there. Mr. Pfizer, Mahomes Mojado, Andy Reid and the Nuggies, State Farm, that business. In order for that business to really thrive, all those spokesmodels got to be there, right? The spokesman, those commercials won't hit if those guys aren't there, right? I mean, if you're going to be forced to watch those commercials, those dudes got to be there. See how that works? We have 800 people watching right now. Holy cow. That means you guys love to hear me spout about football. So, what I want you guys to do is smash the thumbs up button if you're enjoying what I'm doing. I think I'm starting to figure out who I want to pick. Covering spreads is going to be a bitch this week. Covering spreads is going to be really hard. Just figuring out money lines is really tough this week because teams are resting guys. Money's piled up on certain teams. There's bound to be some wacky outcomes and upsets that are unexpected this week. So just want to let everybody know that covering spreads, picking games this week, definitely as hard as it could possibly be. All right, I see 310 thumbs up. Let me get let's get it up to 500. If we got 800 people watching, get me up to 500 thumbs up right now. It really helps the algorithm if you stroke it. If you stroke the algorithm and give the algorithm an organism. You want to make the algorithm come. All right. I think I missed the super chat or two. AD says last time Dallas won the Super Bowl, January 28 years ago, the NFC Championship, January 28, Texas 28 State. It's a ritual. It's rigged. That's why Rangers won. I like that one. See, I'm not usually a gematria guy, but I like that one. Sometimes the numbers line up to where it's intriguing. And if those numbers also line up with my story in my head, I'm not against the Cowboys going back and winning. I don't have anything against any of the teams or whatever. I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm just trying to figure it out as I go along. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because then it affects the way I pick each game individually because a new storyline can present itself. They can start a new storyline in the playoffs. unexpectedly, some new story can show up and change everything. So I don't like to get too far ahead of myself and say, yes, it's definitely going to be Cowboys Chiefs. Cowboys win for sure. Because then that means all the games I pick, I have to go along with that already set Super Bowl I have in my head. And then every spread that comes my way, then I'm like, oh, well, I have to go this certain way because I already made this pick. So I want to not make a Super Bowl pick early and just pick each game as it happens and look at the spread, look at the money, and just figure out each game as it comes along, as not to be stuck being forced into making a pick because I already picked a Super Bowl, you see? And if you pick a Super Bowl and then your team gets knocked off in the first round that you picked or whatever, or knocked off in the second round, then you're wrong. Everyone tells you you're wrong. And then you end up changing your pick and have to repick a different Super Bowl winner. See? Like Zach Hubbard does. So a guy like Zach Hubbard will make like 5-10 different Super Bowl picks and then get them all wrong. And then be like, congrats to the winners. I was right again. Stephen Bowman says 24 years for the MVP. My mistake. Oh, well, in that case, all the gematria is wrong. No, I'm kidding. So Stephen Bowman says Mahomes was the first MVP to win Super Bowl. 19 years last year, Mahomes got back-to-back. First time in 19 years. Oh, that's what you're correcting. I got a different comment confused with yours. So not 19 years, 24 years. Okay. All right. So what do you guys think of my bracket right here? The Steelers can win or lose and get in this matchup. So I feel like the Steelers do find a way to win. I just don't know if I like them in the playoffs or not. Still trying to decide whether Steelers get in or not. They would be an easy sacrificial lamb for Buffalo in this scenario. But they could possibly lose, and then we could have Minshew be the sacrificial lamb. Then we can get Cleveland, Jacksonville instead. Or do they throw Stroud to Buffalo? See, I'm still trying to figure out the AFC side. It's sketchy. I feel like I'm going to have to make 2 different pick videos because these first 2 games are on Saturday, and then the rest of the games are on Sunday. So if I pick these first 2 games, get one of them wrong, both of them wrong, both of them right, then I'll have a better idea of which way the rest of the cards are going to fall. See, because these first 2 matchups are on Saturday. So we'll have a better idea whether, it's going to be Stroud or Minshew and where they're going to go. Most likely. Who they're going to go play and lose, most likely. I think, in my opinion, this is probably one of my favorite matchups or favorite setups. If I could pick the playoffs, I think this is it. Colts get in. They lose to Flacco. Flacco goes on the road to play Baltimore. Tyreek Hill goes to play Kansas City. Kansas City wins. They go on the road to play Buffalo, who easily beats Pittsburgh. All juicy matchups. Jordan Love goes to the city of brotherly love. Stafford goes back to Detroit. Dallas goes to New Orleans. Dallas ends up playing the Niners. Detroit goes on the road to play Philly. Those are really juicy matchups. I really like this setup. But that doesn't mean that the NFL is going to do that. Or they could flip flop Philly and Dallas. What do you guys think? Is Dallas the second seed, or is Dallas going to blow the last game? You think it's impossible that the Lions can beat the Rams at home? They're going to be so fired up. I feel like the NFL owes it to the Lions fans to give them a playoff win, and then they can lose the next week against a team that's on paper better, you know. So having Detroit win that game and beat Stafford, that would be a big motivational boost for the fans, and it would give them at least a playoff victory under their belt. They can at least say that the season was a success because they made the playoffs and won a game. Having Detroit get beat there, that's just such a kick in the stomach for the city. I don't know. So I feel like Detroit wins. And then in this situation, we would get a Detroit Dallas rematch, which they could do. I don't know. What do you guys think? Does does Dallas take the division, or do the Commanders somehow pull off that upset and Philadelphia steals the division on the last day? Yeah, Flacco going back to Baltimore, I have basically that has to happen in my storybook. And they have it set up to where Cleveland is either going to take on the Colts, the Jags, or the Texans. And they've already beaten all three of those teams. So I expect them to beat either of those three teams again. And then, yeah, that sets up the Browns going back to play Baltimore again. All right. Nate Machowski says, "What about Lions in the Super Bowl? Important teams that play in regular season don't rematch in Super Bowl. Only 3%. Kansas City, if they go, can only play San Francisco or Dallas." Yeah, a Kansas City 49ers rematch is somewhat intriguing because the 49ers this time will be looked at as a lot more powerful of a team than the last time they went with Jimmy G. So 49ers and Chiefs is also a strong matchup for the Super Bowl. That'll get the 49er fans to come over to Las Vegas, spend a bunch of money. And Chiefs fans, like they have a ton of fans, and that keeps Swift and Mahomes as the star power to draw in the normies. I feel like you have to have the star power to draw in the normies. Like if you tell a regular person who doesn't watch like all the games, who's a casual fan, who's going to go to a Super Bowl party, if you tell them, "Oh, the Browns are playing the Lions this year. It's Flacco versus Jared Goff." They're going to be like, "What? Huh?" See what I'm saying? That doesn't move the needle. So that sounds good. Like Browns Lions sounds good to like fanboys, you know? Ooh, two teams that have never won. But I don't think they're going to run that in Vegas. For the first ever Super Bowl in Las Vegas, where betting is legal, I think they're going to want the most bets on any game ever. And in order to get the most bets on any game ever, you need star power. And you ain't going to get that if Flacco's in the Super Bowl or Jared Goff. We already saw Jared Goff go to the Super Bowl and lose. I don't think anybody wants to see that again. At least I don't. So, if we're looking at a money making standpoint, Chiefs, Cowboys, that's a strong possibility. Looks like we're up to 407 thumbs up. I need 500 thumbs up, you guys. I'm here trying to figure out who's going to win these matchups and how it's all going to go down. I still got to figure out the spreads tomorrow. There's a few spreads that are tip-offs to who's going to win most likely, but then there's some spreads that I feel like are total coin flips. So just figuring out the money lines this week is rough. So if you're planning to bet this week, I would bet conservative because you're going to see a lot of wild, wacky shit this week. So you might want to wait and save your money mostly for the playoffs when some of the matchups become a little more clear and there's not as many games to break down. Because with this many games, you're going to have people betting money in weird places. You're going to have fans who don't know teams are resting players who are just going to bet on the team with the winning record. You're going to have fans betting Ravens even though they're resting guys. You're going to have fans, betting on Cleveland even though they're resting guys. You're going to have fans betting on Kansas City, even though they're resting guys. So fanboys this week are going to get confused and they're going to bet money in weird places. So expect to see some weird shit. This one ain't going to go down super easy like a fanboy thinks because they got the fanboys' money in their hands. And remember, guys, they're all about making money. And so they aren't going to let you come along and bet Ravens and Niners at plus money both and hit one of them and win. All right, Reverend Jeff says Jake equals 27. Florida was the 27th state to join the union. The year of Jake, all three Florida teams make the playoffs. 27 divided by 3 equals 9. New Hampshire wins. Oh, thanks, buddy. Now I know for sure who's going to win. Everybody take note. New Hampshire wins the Super Bowl. I thought you were serious at first. Now, look, I know there's still a lot of people who think that the games are real. They're not. All the games are fake. This is WWE football. All the teams are on the same team. They're all just putting on a play in order to get you to watch and bet and hopefully lose. Their goal is to trick you into paying to go watch the games, paying for the merchandise, betting, and hopefully losing. That's their goal. They want you to lose. Those players on the field want you to lose your money so that they can make money. The whole league, the whole system is based around getting your money and getting your viewership. So you shouldn't idolize any of these guys. They're scoundrels. They're deceivers. They're liars. They're playing pretend football to trick you out of your money. So any of you fanboys who are like, I know that it's fake, but I still want the Lions to win. My old team was the Dolphins, and you don't see me saying, I want the Dolphins to win anyway, even though I know it's fake. You know why? Because that's for loser fanboys. So I'm not rooting for my old childhood team, which was the Dolphins. I lived and died with the Dolphins for like 30 years. Well, shouldn't say 30. So when I was like maybe 10 years old until I was 30 years old. So we'll say 20 years. 20 years of fandom, living and dying with a team. And then I gave it up. And now I'm the guy who's number one in the world telling everyone it's fake. You're not going to see me cheering or being a fanboy anymore. They're all liars and deceivers. They're all putting on an act of fakery. So if the Dolphins were to go to the Super Bowl, I've detached myself from being a fan to where if I thought they were going to lose and I had to pick against them, I'd pick against them. You know what would be weird is if the Dolphins went to the Super Bowl and then I thought they were going to win and then I had to actually like pick them and bet money on them and become a fan of the Dolphins again for one more game. I hope they don't do that to me. I actually hope that the Dolphins don't go to the Super Bowl so that I don't have to deal with me capping against my old team and having to possibly roll with them or roll against them. I don't want them to beat me and take my money, and I don't want to have to bet on them and have them lose and rip my heart out one last time. You see there? So I'm hoping that the Dolphins don't go because they are my former team, and I don't want to have to deal with that. All right. Sam says, "Hi, Jake, big fan from Michigan." Hey, hello from California. I was in Vegas for a week and I just got back last night. No, I'm a former fan. See, I don't root or watch the games. I only watch the highlights. So I used to be a fan. I'm not a fan anymore because every time the Dolphins lose, I don't like get mad or throw a fit. Back when I was a fan, I didn't bet on the games like when I was a kid. I just watched and hoped that the Dolphins won every game. And so when they lost, I would be mad like a typical fan, even when I didn't have any money on the line. Now, the only way I would root for the Dolphins is if I bet on them. And there's been a few times this year where I thought they would win, and I did put money on them. And I've actually hit most of the Dolphins games this year. That's one of the teams I've done fairly well with that hasn't burned me nearly as much as some other teams. There's some teams that have thrown me for a loop all year long. The Dolphins not one of them. It's because that's my former team, and I know how that team works. So, for instance, at the beginning of the year when the Bills thumped them and everyone was on the Dolphins, I had the Bills that day. The Dolphins were undefeated, going to play the Bills. The Bills had lost to the shitty Jets, and people were thinking that the Dolphins were going to beat the Bills, and nope. So I picked against the Dolphins early on this season. So I was prepared to pick against them here again in the final week. So no, not a fan anymore. Real fans can't pick against their team. Real fans pick their team every time. Hardcore fans, it's like it hurts their heart to pick against their team. Even when they think their team's probably going to lose, they'll still pick them to win because they think it's bad luck to pick them to lose. So I know guys who will never ever pick against their own team ever. They always pick their own team. There's Niner fans I know that pick the Niners in every single game, no matter what. Okay, says he's a fan of the refs. That's right. Everyone take a second and slam that thumbs up button. Your thumbs up will help save a dying kid in like Indiana or something. A portion of the proceeds may or may not go to helping kids. Okay? That's just a little comedy. Just a joke. I said it may not, and it won't. Zero money is going to be used to help kids. Thank you for the donations. That's that's my slogan. Yeah, I don't see Seattle getting in, bro. Here's the deal. They just it's not in the cards. And the reason is because they're playing the cards. They're playing the Cardinals. That's a game nobody wants to watch. And the reason no one wants to watch it is because it doesn't matter. That's why they have them playing the Cardinals. If they wanted the Seahawks to be in the playoffs, they would have them playing somebody where it's a big matchup. And oh my God, they win and they get in. See, they purposely scripted that they're playing the Cardinals and their chance at making it is this big. And they made it last year. So no Seahawks. No Seahawks, bro. It's just not in the cards. That's why they're playing the cards. I think the Seahawks win as a consolation, but don't get in. So I actually have on my playoff machine, check it out. I got the Seahawks winning, but they just don't get in. See? They just said Geno Smith and the Seahawks. Yeah, they made it last year. No one wants to see that again. So instead, new team, Green Bay. Gabriel Vidori says supporting cause you made me some money. This channel made watching the NFL fan again to see if the bets went through and being part of this community. Eagles made me lose my 13K parlay. Happy 2024. Yeah, I've had some guys tell me that they were running parlays on my picks and they have like one last leg to go to make big money. And it's like crazy because I never have had any sort of money like that on the line on any parlay. So when I hear these stories, I'm like, wow, I'd have to hedge. The Golden Eagle says, do you think it's a Jim Brown ritual for the Browns, maybe a second round exit from the playoffs? I just think that makes the most sense. Flacco returns to Baltimore. Baltimore snuffs him out. I mean, Flacco winning in Baltimore and then the Browns going to play the Chiefs or the Bills. I mean, it's a possibility. But I think that the bigger matchup would be Mahomes goes to play Lamar in the AFC Championship. Mahomes goes on the road to play Lamar Jackson, and everyone will most likely bet on the Ravens, and then the Chiefs knock them off. See, I think the Chiefs, people are looking at them like they aren't that strong because they purposely made them not look that strong. So I feel like Mahomes going on the road and knocking off a team that people think is better. Sounds like an NFL script to me. I don't know if you can make a bet to specifically not have the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl. You can bet that they're going to lose. So what you could do is bet that Miami's going to beat them, or that in the next game you can bet against them. So you could just start fading them and double up each time if they lose, right? If you don't think that they're going to make it to the Super Bowl, then just bet against them in this round, and then bet against them in the next round if it double down if it doesn't work this week. You better hope like hell that in the third round in the AFC title game that they don't blow that one. Or I mean, that they don't win that one. Reverend Jeff says Browns make a run. Then we have a runny turd in the Super Bowl. Jake, your picks helped me win a pick'em league, and some bets ended in the black. You also cured my fanboy mentality. Thank you. Oh, well, glad I could help. Yeah, I think Browns winning the first game and Flacco going back to Baltimore makes all the sense in the world. I just don't think old man Flacco beating Baltimore in Baltimore works. I think that's over the top. Because then he'd have to go on the road to play the Chiefs, Browns at the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs have to go on the road twice this year, and Mahomes proves that he's the best by winning both those. So I almost have my mind made up now that the Chiefs are going back. If this is how it ends, the Chiefs win the first home game, but then they have to go on the road against the Buffalo Bills and then go on the road against Baltimore. If Mahomes was to win back-to-back in Buffalo and Baltimore, that go back to the Super Bowl again, that basically cements his legacy. He's the new Tom Brady for sure. And if he wins back-to-back Super Bowls, yeah, I could see that being the story. And then Travis Kelce proposes to Taylor Swift. She says yes. Fade to black. Right? You better pray they don't use my script. Kelsey drops to one knee during the Super Bowl celebration, proposes to Taylor Swift, who fake cries and says yes. And then they pan around to all the fanboys, and all the women in the crowd are just bawling and clapping. Everyone and all the fanboys and girls at home. Ah! You better hope they don't do that shit. They could. They could do it. I wonder if I just ruined their plan. Like Jake totally ruined the proposal. How in the hell did he know that? Bro, here's the thing with Epstein. It's a made up thing. You don't know any of these people. You saw them on TV. So Epstein and all of this is like a made up character on TV. Don't listen to any of it and don't worry about any of it. So if you fall down this rabbit hole, they're going to get you to follow fake conspiracy theories. There's real conspiracies, and then there's fake conspiracy theories that are planted by the government, such as Epstein and his list and his island and who went there and who didn't. Don't fall into that trap. You know what I do? I just wave my hands at all of it and go, it's all fake. That guy's fake. The list is fake. All the actors who maybe went there and maybe didn't are fake. We don't know. We can only assume lots of horrible things go on behind the scenes. But if they're going to talk about it on TV and show these characters on TV and give you their name, then they planted that information for you. Whenever that information is planted, I reject it. Yeah. Epstein. When I was a kid, there wasn't any. I never heard of Epstein. When I was a kid, no one knew who that was. No one ever said anything about him. I was like in my 20s. No one ever said Epstein. Ever. When I was 30, I don't remember anyone ever saying Epstein. This is like a few years back or whatever, like when he like supposedly died. Then everyone talked about him and his list. And it was a big deal. So here's my thing. If you didn't have a TV, you wouldn't know who he was and you wouldn't care. And it's all made up, most likely. I'll bet you it's most likely all a big fake bunch of bullshit. Most everything that they give you like that, it's a big bunch of fake bullshit to get you to go down a rabbit hole to nowhere. Oh, but the kids in Epstein's Island and Jimmy Kimmel went there and Aaron Rodgers, they went and Oprah drinks the baby's blood on Epstein Island. And Hunter Biden and his laptop. If they get you to go down those rabbit holes, they got you talking about made up bullshit that they made up for you. So the bad guys make up bullshit, they give it to you, and then if you take it and talk about it, then they got you. So that's why I don't talk about the Hunter Biden laptop and Oprah drinks the baby's blood on Epstein Island and Jimmy Kimmel went there and he did things with the kids. I heard stories. Yeah, I don't fall for any of that garbage at all. So that's my thoughts. Yeah. It's the world stage clown show, and I break it down and call it all fake, because that's what it is. It's all fake. You shut that damn TV off and you don't listen to any of it. None of it changes. None of it hurts you at all. Oh, Epstein's list. Who's on it? Oh my God. Yeah, it's fake. Turn off the TV. All right. Every time a white man talking about a black man, always trying to walk down the street, Obama went to the White I was talking about my mama. My mama met Obama in the White House, smelling like a white man walking down the street. White people. Chris Rock, everybody. See, I'm breaking into my comedy. This is supposed to be a football stream. Now I'm starting to goof off and do my comedy. I was supposed to save that for my non-football stream. My non-football stream is tomorrow, and I'm going to not talk about football purposely and ignore all the football comments and only talk about other stuff tomorrow. That's tomorrow night. Tonight's going to be football night, though. Yes, I do the best impression. I am the funniest person in the world. So those of you who are just here for football, I'm actually the funniest comedian in the world who's alive today. I'm funnier than every one of those fake losers in Hollywood. I'm the real deal, the unscripted comic, the guy who actually makes up real comedy off the top of my head without limits and says how I really feel, tells it like it is. Yeah, I'm that comic. And I'm going to do some of that comedy tomorrow night. I just so happen to become the most popular guy on the internet who says that football's not real. Unexpectedly. That was not expected to happen. I did not know that my pick videos were going to be the most popular thing that I do. Like me just picking games gets way more views than all the other stuff, even more than the top 10s. The pick videos get more views than the top 10 by like double the amount some weeks. I did not expect it. It was this an unexpected bunch of people showing up. So I'm finishing for all you unexpected people who showed up week after week after week and exploded my subscriber count. Finishing for you guys. And because I'm making money doing this. Yee! That too. All right. Someone do a welfare check on this cat for real. Okay. Mr. Black Guy. I can tell this guy's black just by the fact that he said someone do a welfare check on this cat and then said faux real. He like typed like a black man. I can tell you're black, sir. Not that there's anything wrong with that, except that you expressed it through text. I think someone needs to do a checkup on your black ass. Someone do a checkup on this guy's black ass. Let him know who he is and why he's here. See, that's how you get the laughing emojis. This cat. Yes, I must be out of my mind. I have, all these people here who are watching who I'm keeping entertained for the last 2 hours, right? And it's because I'm so crazy and out of my mind. Yes. Somehow I got, tens of thousands of people to start following me over the last few months because I'm just so crazy and out of my mind. Somebody from the government should come check on me for doing such a good job at creating so much engagement on my channel. Don't you love that? This guy's crazy. He's out of his mind. He's the most popular guy on the internet saying that football's fake and has tens of thousands of new people showing up each month. Tens of thousands of new subs. He's making money doing this right now. He's crazy, and someone needs to check on him. This guy on screen right now, making money, literally making money, getting donations, doing this for the last 2 hours, entertaining everyone. I'm out of my mind. I'm just loony. How did a loony, crazy person luck out so much to create such an engaging channel, which also pays all my bills and then some? I went to Las Vegas and made money because I have this channel because I'm so crazy. Somebody should come check in on me. I should be working at a real job. One that I hate, that sucks. Like you. Yeah. Then I wouldn't be crazy and nobody would have to come check on me. See how this game works? When you try and insult the guy who's been making money for the last 2 hours right in front of your face. Remember that guy who gave me $100 super chat earlier? Hmm. It's because I need a welfare check. So that guy sent me a welfare check. Oh, my hat's right over here. Since this is just a football stream, I was not wearing it. I'm going to save the hat for the comedy stream. So the hat's here. It didn't go nowhere. But tonight is a football stream. Tomorrow is the comedy stream. So this is your announcement. Official. Whoop. Tomorrow night, I'm going live. Friday night live. No football. All comedy and scripted news and whatever. I'm going to be taking questions, reading comments. We're going to do a non-football stream tomorrow for all the old school subs, the hardcore subs, the people who live overseas in England who don't care about the NFL. I have people who follow my channel and have been following my channel for years who live in England or Australia, and they don't give a shit about the football stuff. So I got to give them something. So tomorrow night, I'm going to do a all comedy stream, maybe some music. Maybe I'll even play some live music. So tomorrow night is the no football stream. I'll probably start at 5 or 6 p.m. and go for 3 hours. Okay? So be on the lookout tomorrow night for the comedy stream, the non-football stream. Yes, Andy, I'm thinking about you guys. I'm thinking about all my subs and people who don't care about the football content. I'm thinking about you. Good news, guys. Football ends in February. It's over in February, and it won't come back until September 2024. Yeah, the YouTube doesn't notify all my subs. That's one of their dirty tricks. You have to make sure that you're subscribed and you have the bell notification turned on, because they're pretty bad about not telling people when I go live or when I post a video. So I'm notifying everyone right now who's watching. Tomorrow night, 5 or 6 p.m. Pacific, 7, 8 p.m. Eastern, somewhere around there. I'll post it tomorrow in the community section and give you a heads up. Tomorrow is the comedy stream, the non-football stream. I'm going to be wearing the hat. I might catch me a little buzz so that I feel really good and funny. And we're going to have a stream where we don't talk about football. That's right. Just for you, girl. No football Friday for you and all the hardcore longtime subs. For those of you who don't know, this channel did not start as a sports channel. This channel is a truth channel and a comedy channel. And then when I put football into the mix, it became the most popular thing that I do by a long ways, to where I pretty much had to just cover football for the whole season until it ends. So yeah, that's what happened. The channel wasn't originally a football channel. It unexpectedly exploded. And so to meet the demand, I turned my channel into a football channel because the audience is so gigantic. This guy says he S-words funnier than you. I or S word's funnier than me. No, you don't. That's 100% not true. Take a shit and then film it and then upload it and then see how many people laugh. I'll bet you it's less than who laughed at me here tonight, which proves I'm funnier than you and your shits aren't funnier than me. Ha ha ha! I win! Go ahead. Film one of your funny shits and post it. Tag me in it. We'll see how many views it gets. We'll see what people say in the comments. My guess is you're not funny, and neither is your shit. In fact, I'll bet you right now I'm going to get more laughing emojis just making fun of you than you could ever get in your whole fucking life. You know why? Because I'm the funniest dude who ever lived. Me, the funniest guy who ever lived in this place, who ever existed in this realm. I am him. I can create comedy out of my asshole magically, instantaneously, unscripted, off the top of my head. I can roast you and make you look like a fucking fool. I could go on for an hour doing this. You know why? Because I'm the best. And no one will ever be funnier than me. Understand? Now take your shit and get lost, bitch. I've been making people chuckle fart since before I was born. Do you know anybody who makes people chuckle fart before they were born? I don't think so. All right. Yes, Sleeping Lady, many people have requested that I cover the NBA, and my answer is no, I don't want to. And the reason is they have magnetic rims and magnetic balls, and they can control every shot, whether it goes in or not. So the same technology they use with the field goals, they got the NBA with the ball going in the hoop. So the whole thing, how the NBA works, you need the ball to go in the hoop when you want it to. You need it to not go in the hoop when you don't want it to. And the greedy old men who own the damn thing, they have control over that. Because, you know, if you're a billionaire, you want control over whether the ball goes in. So get it out of your head if you think that those players are actually shooting. They're not. They're just chucking a ball up. And if you personally had the tech in your hands, you personally could sink 10 half court shots in a row. If they turn that shit on full blast for you and you chuck that ball anywhere near the rim, it's going in. So if they gave you the tech and you had it in your hands and you were like, dude, all I got to do is just throw it at the rim and it goes in. Oh, if you played with it, then you would understand nobody's good. Nobody's bad. All you got to do is throw the fucking ball up at the rim. So all the players you think are good, it's all of them. It's whether the magnetic rim is turned on or not decides how good they are. See what I'm saying? So it's not even a sport at all in any way, shape, or form. And so I don't want to have to cover basketball and just be like, that's a magnetic shot. That's a magnetic shot. That was also a magnetic shot. There's nothing but magnetic shots in this whole damn game. That's what I would be saying. See what I'm saying? So that's why I can't cover NBA. It's because I would just be repeating that every damn shot is magnetic. So nope, can't cover NBA. Not going to do it. Rose says, haven't they really watched the fake injury videos? I've put out fake injury videos for Aaron Rodgers and for Trevor Lawrence, Damar Hamlin. I put out fake injury videos whenever I see a high profile fake injury. Whenever I see it and it's obvious, I point it out. So I got a lot of views on those videos. So I'm sure some portion of the audience here tonight maybe came in by watching those videos or saw those videos. Hopefully we get some in the last week. I didn't see any doinks this week. And if there was, I missed it. So yeah, I didn't watch all the highlights this week because I was on the road in Las Vegas, and I had to rent a hotel and make the video like in one night. So I had to quickly just binge watch the some highlights, the top plays, and then quickly make the list and just spit it out. And so I didn't get a chance to watch all the highlights. So I don't know if there was a doink last week, but hopefully there's a doink in the final week so that I can sing it, you know. But if you'd like, I think I could do it right now. Well, I tried to tell you so, but I guess you didn't know. Well, they've been messing with field goals, and there's magnets in the poles. You lied to me. All those field goals I thought were so real. You lied to me. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You lied to me. All those field goals I thought were so real. You lied to me. And now I cry, cry, return of the doink. Here it is, return of the doink. Come on, return of the doink. Another ball hits the pole. All right, there you go, little acapella. So I plan on building out a studio once the season ends. I'm going to build myself a little studio and record new music. One of the plans is to get a professional version of Return of the Doink done so that next season I got it all lined up. So by next season and before next season, I will record a professional version, because all I have now is a kind of a janky karaoke version. So if I can make a better, more polished version, I'll have that ready to go for next season anytime there's a doink. And you know, it's just such a simple thing that I came up with, and I didn't know it was going to be such a gigantic hit, you know? Miguel says, Jay Herbo got a fake broken finger because he even pats the opponent on the hater probably craps out glass toys. Oh, Justin Herbert, Jay Herbo. Yeah, any quarterback who they want to not take a bunch of losses at the end of a season, like if they want to have, for instance, the Bengals get out of the way, miss the playoffs, and they don't want Joe Burrow to take the losses, then they just have him have a fake injury. Same with Herbert. Instead of having Herbert lose a bunch of games down the stretch and make it look like he's a crappy quarterback, instead you can have him get fake hurt and then have the backup take the losses. You see, so it helps these teams that aren't scripted to make the playoffs lose and fall out of the mix without it being the starting quarterback's fault. So you don't want to make, Kansas City, or I mean Cincinnati, losing and not making the playoffs Joe Burrow's fault. Oh, well, it's not Joe Burrow's fault now because he's hurt and Browning just couldn't get it done. Oh, the Chargers having a crap season is not Herbert's fault. See, so this is how they can have those good quarterbacks take the rest of the season off and not hurt their status by losing a bunch of games. Because people start to turn on quarterbacks when they lose too many games. People figure out every quarterback sucks. So whenever you get a new quarterback, you're always excited. Ooh, this guy's going to be better than the last guy who sucks. And then you're like, oh, this guy sucks too. So it's like almost every quarterback besides like the top three guys, it seems like they suck. Like they throw pick sixes, they get sacked. It's like every quarterback doesn't seem that good when you're watching them. So fan bases quickly turn on quarterbacks. So that's why they have to reshuffle the quarterbacks every few years. You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, Derek Carr wore out his welcome in with the Raiders. So now we got to shovel him over here to the Saints. And then when he wears out his welcome there, then we'll shovel him over to another team. Okay, Ryan Tannehill, he wore out his welcome with the Dolphins. Let's shove him over here to Tennessee. And then he's going to wear out his welcome with Tennessee, and we'll shove Tannehill over with one of these other teams. So they'll just shove and pull around all these different quarterbacks to give the fans a new person to watch. Because I remember when I was a fan, you're always like hoping the backup quarterback would play. The starter sucks. I want the backup to come in and play. If you're a fanboy, you always think that the backup is going to come in and play better because sometimes backups do come in and play better. So the NFL has created this illusion where, like, the next quarterback in line might do way better than the current guy. So fans are always happy to see a new quarterback show up and play, especially if they don't have one of the top five guys. If you don't have one of the top five quarterbacks, then it's like you have just another average quarterback who can't get it done, who throws picks like everyone else and kind of sucks. Stephen Bowman says that's why I think T Law Jags don't make it. They haven't been promoting Trevor Lawrence as much lately, so I could see a scenario where the Jags fall out. In fact, my bracket has the Jags falling out. The last playoff matchup I just showed you. Check it out. See, so this matchup here has Tennessee beating the Jags on the final week. Steelers get in, Colts get in and win the division and host the Browns. So if everything goes down like this, then yeah, the Jags are out. Either way, even if they win, I think Cleveland would knock them out in the first round. So I think even if the Jags make it, they're going to get knocked out in the first round. I like the Colts simply because I don't think anyone bet on the Colts. So I think that the majority of the money for the AFC South winner would probably be on Jacksonville. So I think if they wanted to rake money off the table, they could have the Colts win and knock the Texans out. Here's the thing, the money's on the Texans, and I'll bet you there's money on the Jags to beat the Titans. So they could take the money off the table at those two games. And the Colts winning the division is the last team anyone expected to win that division. So I doubt there's anyone out there who at the beginning of the year bet the Colts to win the South. There's hardly anyone, I would guess, who bet big on the Colts. So having the Colts sneak away with the South, in my book, the NFL stands to pull a gigantic pot of money off the table if they did it like this. That's what I see. And it looks like I missed a super chat. Let me roll back and try and rustle it up. Shit. Second, trying to find that super chat. Oh, OJ and toothpaste. My bad, buddy. I missed your super chat. Jake, do a lot of NFL players make up fake stories? NFL players are billboards. So Pat McAfee is a billboard. Anyone on TV, man, they're all actors. They're billboards. So the things that come out of their mouth are controlled and scripted. So NFL players will have personas that are controlled by corporations. So, for instance, Travis Kelce is in a sponsorship with Pfizer. He's like the poster boy for Pfizer, and so all these guys, they're basically under the control of the NFL. So if the NFL comes to them and says, hey, we want you to be
pro-vax or we want you to be anti-vax. Like that player will take that stance whether they agree with it or not because they're told to. See what I'm saying? The same way if they want Pat McAfee to promote FanDuel and Bud Light, they just pony up a big fat check and then he does it. So any of these players, whatever comes out of their mouth is controlled and bought, basically. They're walking, talking billboards, actors for hire. So yeah, for sure. It's not Taylor Swift's fault. I think the NFL went to Taylor Swift. I don't think Taylor Swift went to the NFL. I think they went to her and they made her a business deal. Or just her overlords told her that she's part of this deal, whether she likes it or not. You know, she's an actor being told what to do and where to be. But basically, Taylor Swift can sell out any stadium in the world on any night for a concert. So she's more popular than some of the NFL teams are. There's NFL teams who can't sell out their own stadium, but Taylor Swift can sell out any NFL team's stadium. So, as a business deal, her and Kelsey entering into a fake relationship, to me, it's like a pure business decision. You can get tens of millions of new viewers who wouldn't normally watch football, especially women, to not only watch but buy merch. So women like to shop. Uh, Taylor Swift fans are very influenced by whatever she does. So if you look at Kelsey jerseys, skyrocketed 400% when she started dating him. So when they started their business relationship. So if Kelsey jerseys skyrocket 400%, just that alone shows you that the relationship is tied to business. So what are the chances it was all just luck? She just happened to think he was cute. He just happened to think she was cute. They just happened to fall in love. And it's just all a big lucky coinky dink that happens to make the NFL more profitable and get more viewers. They just lucked out that those two young lovebirds fell in love. It was just a lucky accident. Ha! No way. No how. Business relationship all the way, which means it's not real, which means they're not really in love. Yeah, they're not in love. It's fake. Fake relationship, fake football. It's all about the Benjamins. They know that they can sell you on a relationship. They can sell women on it. Women who don't usually watch football, who are watching now because of Taylor Swift. They're bandwagon Chiefs fans jumping on. Yeah. They can tug on your heartstrings. Yes, we've went over this many times that it could be a man. Taylor could be a boy. Regardless, whatever it is very popular, and the NFL is using it to get more viewers and make more money. And I think they're going to ride that express all the way to the Super Bowl. Why wouldn't they? I mean, if you were the NFL and you could make an extra billion by having her be there and the Chiefs be there, or you could go Browns and Lions and make $1 billion less. What are you going to do? Oh, if we go Browns Lions, we can make 500 million. Oh, but if we go Chiefs Cowboys and Taylor Swift's at the game, well then we can make 1.5 billion. What should we do? See what I'm saying? That's how they think. They've sat around in an office and thought about all this shit, probably a year or two in advance. Neil Sampson says, thanks for returning to the rigged NFL content. Love your work. Wanted to show my appreciation. Well, so many people, wanted me to continue. And since the season was wrapping up anyway, and it was going to end in February, I figured I might as well finish. And so, it creates so much engagement and I make money. So walking away from it just wasn't going to happen, especially with the NFL going on in the background. So when I tried to walk away for a week, it's like I knew it was still going on. People were like, please come back and make picks. It's like, okay, so the decision was pretty easy to come back and finish. It's like, make more money, please a bunch of people. Okay, fuck it. It was impossible to forget about it. And then I know that once it's over, then it's over. Like there are no more picks, and then I can naturally just work on other stuff without letting anyone down. So when it's all said and done, Super Bowl's over. I make that final Super Bowl rig video. Hopefully hit the Super Bowl pick and go out a winner. Once that's all said and done, I expect a bunch of you guys to tune out and drop off until next year. That's expected. Then I can just go into other subjects naturally without letting anyone down. So when it comes to some of these upsets, you got to figure the parlay busters are the ones that you don't see coming. And so last week, I didn't see it coming. The Cardinals beating the Eagles in Philadelphia. That was the parlay buster last week, and that one caught me off guard. See, a parlay buster, you shouldn't be able to know it's coming unless you're like me last week, calling it out as the parlay buster. And see, it's sketchy to try and call out the parlay buster because you're gonna take a team no one wants, that everyone expects to lose, and you're gonna be one of the only people, like I was, being like, the Chiefs are gonna lose at home. People are like, you're crazy. The Chiefs aren't gonna lose to the Raiders at home. Well, parlay buster. So everyone was telling me I was wrong about the parlay buster. But then once you see it go down, then it's like, oh, of course. So last week, the parlay buster was the Cardinals. And I didn't see that coming. And I'll bet you most of you didn't. You can lie and say that you knew the Cardinals were going to beat the Eagles in Philadelphia, but you're most likely a liar. So I'll bet you most of you don't have a winning ticket with Cardinals money line to show me. So that was the parlay buster last week. And see, I totally didn't see that coming. So they got me on that one. Shauna, glad you could make it. Hopefully you're here tomorrow night for the non-football stream. Jonna says, Happy New Year. Wishing you all the best from Rose and Jonna X. Mwah. Hey, thank you for showing up and donating. Hopefully you heard tomorrow night I'm going to do a stream, a non-football stream, comedy and questions and stuff from the audience and all that stuff. So tomorrow, hopefully you can show up for the stream. It should be fun. So thanks for showing up tonight and donating, and hopefully I see you again tomorrow night. And glad you could make it. All my beautiful mods, all my people hanging out tonight. Jonna has been donating to this channel for years, and she is one of the biggest supporters of the channel ever. And so donations like this are common. She's very generous and has been an absolute sweetheart over the years. And so thank you, Jonna, for showing up, and I appreciate that. Yes, tomorrow night I'm gonna do a stream. I'll probably start at like 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. That sounds about good. So tomorrow night, 6 p.m. on the West Coast, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. If you're anywhere in the middle, you do the math. And then yeah, I'll probably stream, I don't know, 2-3 hours tomorrow night. So OJ and Toothpaste says, Jake, meet up in Sacramento area soon for us locals. I could set something up. I think there's a few people in the California area. So, yeah, I could probably set something up. Yes, John is very sweet. Yeah, the Rams Lions matchup could go either way. They could have Stafford go rip the heart out of the Lions fans, but to me that seems too brutal to have Stafford, their old quarterback, show up to their house and rip their heart out in the first round. That's brutal. I can see people betting on that and thinking that that could happen, but in my opinion, the NFL will give the Lions that game. Stafford goes back and gets beat by his old team in a very close game, very tightly contested game that maybe goes to overtime or down to the wire. And the Lions come through and they get to celebrate their first home playoff win in God knows how long. I don't even know the last time they won a home playoff game. So, in my opinion, Lions beating Stafford makes more sense than him ripping their heart out. And then the Lions could go play a team like Dallas again or the Eagles again. So I like the Lions winning and moving on more so than I like the Rams winning. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. The NFL might not even have that matchup. I think they will. I think that matchup's almost a lock. But stranger things have happened. They could throw us Lions versus Green Bay for a third time. I don't know. I think old man Flacco wins the first round, but then when he goes to Baltimore, that's the end of the story. Old man Flacco going to Baltimore and beating Lamar, I doubt it. I think the quarterbacks or any player going back to their old team gets beat. That's the way I see it. So all the players, Tyreek going back to Kansas City, Dolphins lose. Stafford goes to the Lions and loses. Flacco goes to the Ravens after winning in the first round, but then loses in Baltimore. That makes the most sense to me. But it's the NFL. Anything could happen. You know, we're trying to talk about playoff matchups before we even know who's even in the playoffs. Playoffs? Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. Playoffs? Are you kidding me? Playoffs? Playoffs? There you go. I don't know how many people remember that. There's probably some people like, what's he doing? Why is he saying playoffs like that? That was weird. For those of you who are unaware, there was a coach named Jim Mora who was asked about his team. He was the coach of the Colts at the time. And he was asked if his team could possibly, if he's still thinking about his team possibly making the playoffs. And his team was losing like a bunch of games at the time. And he was like, what? Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? And he said it in a way that became like so popular that now that like for 10 years afterwards, and even to this day, if you say the word playoffs, somebody might go, playoff. So it's like anytime you hear the word playoffs as we get towards the playoffs, then of course the Jim Mora version of playoffs comes out. Stephen Bowman says, Jake, the Rams aren't even playing Stafford. Wentz is starting. Rams still win. Yeah, I know, but the 49ers aren't playing their starting quarterback either. And so, yeah, I have the Rams beating the 49ers in that game of two backup quarterbacks. Because the Niners are rolling out all their backups. And so I expect the Rams backups to beat the Niners backups. Oh, this guy's got a guarantee. He says, guaranteed the cabal wants Browns versus Cowboys. You think Flacco versus Dak is the match in the big game in Dallas? I don't know. What makes you so sure? Like, how come you want to guarantee that? Like, what sort of information do you have? What insider knowledge do you have? Who do you know that tipped you off with this information? Because to me, that's not a needle moving matchup. Cowboys Browns. Like, yeah, Cowboys fans will watch any Super Bowl that they're in and be hyped up, but like Flacco versus Dak doesn't quite seem like the business to me. It's a very odd matchup. I think you're the only guy I've seen that predicted Browns Cowboys. I've seen lots of different predictions, but you, sir, are the only one guaranteeing a Browns Cowboys match. So perhaps there's something to it. I mean, this guy's guaranteeing it, so it all depends on how much money you want to bet on this guy's guarantee. If this guy's wrong and his guarantee's completely faulty, feel free to track him down and kick his ass. Just kidding, bro. Or am I? Oh, I missed the super chat. My bad. Let me go rustle it up like Russell Wilson. OJ and Toothpaste says Panthers owner throwing a drink on a fan staged. Yeah. That's how they basically like promote that they're above you. They think that they're above you, and they know that they're above you. They're going to throw drinks on you, tell you that they're throwing drinks on you, and then what? And then nothing. And the fans are just going to put up with it. Thanks, OJ. Andy, you don't know who was on that island. In fact, that's all probably made up. So I wouldn't run with any of it. So don't assume you know any celebrity did anything because they're all just a bunch of liars and actors. Epstein might have just been a made up character the whole time. You never watched him do anything wrong to anyone. You never saw anyone with him do anything wrong to anyone personally. So don't fall into that trap. It's kind of like saying Oprah drinks baby's blood. It's like very grandiose. You can't prove it. You start falling down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole where people will just automatically assume you're loony. And if they plant fake information and you fall for it, that's how they get you to basically dupe yourself. Turn yourself into a useful idiot. So I wouldn't fall for any of their stuff. I would just say that all that shit's made up on TV. There's other made up characters that they passed off as being real. If you really look into it, you'll find out. They can create guys like Charlie Manson as a character and create this whole story. And then when you look into it, there was like different Charlie Mansons, and it wasn't even one guy, and the whole story was manufactured. Or like Einstein, for instance, it's like Einstein wasn't really a genius; he's a manufactured, government-approved genius. And so you got to watch out for these characters that they create out of nowhere and present to you. Because, like I was saying earlier, like when I was a kid, nobody knew who Epstein was. When I was 20 years old, nobody knew who he was. So it was only when he showed up on TV and they talked about him that anyone started talking about his list or his island. Okay. And you know what? That's not the only Stein. So, like Harvey Weinstein. Remember when they were like, oh, Harvey Weinstein's a bad guy and he did all these bad things? But none of us ever knew who that was beforehand. So it's like the TV had to let us know who Harvey Weinstein was, right? So these are people thrust on you. Anyone who has the name Stein, it's usually bad. Alex Stein, need I say more?
Yeah, prime time. Prime time. I'm starting to grind. All day time.
Yeah. Yep. See? Albert Einstein. See how that works? Yeah. Oh, sorry, I might have missed the super chat. Let me run back. Stephen Bowman says ESPN is hyping up Browns, Ravens, San Francisco, Dallas. They could be throwing us all for a big loop. I think for sure they're not going to run Ravens Niners because they fed that to us hardcore. They were rerunning the old Super Bowl between the Ravens and Niners on ESPN before the Niners and Ravens played a week ago. So they were rerunning that old Joe Flacco Super Bowl where he won against the Niners. And so it's like they're installing the thought into everyone's head. So I don't think they're going to run that Super Bowl matchup. But do I think they'll run Flacco going back to play the Ravens? Hell yeah. That one they'll run. But if they wanted to, they could throw a monkey wrench at all of us and having a completely different bracket than we were all thinking. So I'm prepared to be wrong this week, and I'm not going to bet big. I'm going to bet conservatively. I don't feel comfortable this week because I know if the NFL wants to, they can make any little bracket or any little story they want. And all the shit that we're talking about is going to go right out the window. And so this week, I'm just going to forewarn you guys. I'm still trying to figure out who's going to win and lose. So covering spreads, it's going to be kind of a coin flip week. So I would save your money for the playoffs when things have cleared up and not bet too big this week because we're in for some wild, wacky week one type shit. Teams that are supposed to win will blow it. Teams that are resting their starters will win. And so just because a team rests their starters is not an automatic loss. Just because a team has to win to get in doesn't mean they are. So expect some wackiness. I personally, like I said, would not bet big. Save your money for the playoffs when there's less games to cap and storylines are a lot more clear and the posers have gotten out of the way and the loser teams are no longer in the picture. So there'll be a lot less games to focus on next week. The picks should be easier once we see the storylines and we know for sure if we're going to get Stafford Lions, we know for sure if we're going to get Cowboys Saints or Cowboys Bucks or Eagles Bucks. Once we know for sure what matchups we're going to get, I feel like the storyline will start to come together and it won't be as hard to cap the games since I don't have to spend hours going over 16 damn matchups, you know? So I'm looking forward to the playoffs and not having to worry about the Jets and Pats and these crap teams upsetting good teams. So yeah, straight up, guys, this is the hardest week. I'm still trying to figure out who's going to win all the money line games. So like the spreads this week, this might be a shit week. So last week I had kind of a shit week with spreads, but I killed it on money lines. So last week I went 13-3 on money line winners, which is great. And I nailed the Saints winning outright, and I nailed Pittsburgh winning outright. So I did great on money lines. But last week on spreads, I went 7-9, which sucks. So a very mixed bag last week. And going into this week, I don't know. I have no idea. I have, like I said, a few good ideas on the most juicy looking matchups on paper, but they hold all the cards. They can make any matchup they want happen. So we'll see. All right. So with that said, I'm going to make my official picks for the 2 games tomorrow, or I mean on Saturday. I'll have my picks out tomorrow for the 2 games Saturday. And then once those go down, I'll have a better idea how the rest of them are going to go down, and I'll have the rest of the picks out right after those games wrap up. So I might have to wait for these first 2 games on Saturday to wrap up, see how they go down, and then adjust any games accordingly. See what I'm saying? So I might have to, I'll probably have to do 2 pick videos. Maybe I'll squeeze them all into one. I don't know. Upsets are going to be a big part of it, but a few of the favorites do got to win, I feel like. So, but you're going to see some wacky shit for sure. And the fans are betting strangely because a lot of fans don't know that these good teams are resting their guys. So you have inexperienced bettors who are looking at the Ravens and being like, why are the Ravens underdogs? I'm taking the Ravens. Why are the Chiefs underdogs? I'm taking the Chiefs. So there's people looking at the teams resting, and they don't understand that they're resting guys. And there's people betting money on those teams. And so there's a lot of money being funneled into weird places this week. So you can expect some weird outcomes. So again, be very cautious. If you think like, oh, Tampa's for sure going to beat the Panthers. That's most likely the for sure upset of the week is Panthers take out the Bucks. In my book, Panthers are taking out the Bucks. So any of these games you think like a team sucks or a team's resting or whatever, and it's a foregone conclusion, be very wary. All right. I've been on here almost 3 hours. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, and I'll try and figure out which way I want to go for these picks, and I'll get the pick video out for you guys tomorrow. So be on the lookout for the pick video, and then tomorrow night I'm going to do the non-football stream. So tomorrow night's comedy stream start at like 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And before that, earlier on in the day, I should have your football pick video. Okay. So, did I miss a super chat? Okay. Let me go back and grab it before I shut down. By Lint Away Air Duct and Dryer Vent Cleaning. The best damn Lint Away Air Duct and Dryer Vent Cleaning service this side of the Mississippi. And he says, I wonder where Pat Truther is right now. Who? I have no recollection of who that is. No idea. Yeah, he packed up his game and went on home and has never been heard from again. He showed up with some fake accounts, and I could tell it was him by his insults. It was like he insulted me with some accounts that he made like the day before. Tried to stir up some shit in the comment section, but I would just ban the account. So that's the last I heard from him, is when he tried to like open up some fake accounts and troll me. That was it. Thank you, Lint Away Air Duct and Dryer Vent Cleaning. I appreciate that. All right, y'all. Everyone who showed up tonight, thank you for tuning in. I will have that pick video out tomorrow, then tomorrow night's live stream, all that stuff. So be on the lookout tomorrow for all that good times and stuff. And then Miguel says, get my sister pregnant to have a Jake nephew. Hey, bro, I'm single. So if your sister is cute and wants to mingle, I could probably knock her up for you, I guess. I mean, if all you want is me to bring a human into the world, you need me to put a kid inside your sister so that you could have a nephew with my DNA. I don't see any problem with that, as long as she's cute and stuff and doesn't piss me off. So, yeah, bring her on, man. All right. So with that said, y'all have a wonderful night. I will catch y'all next time. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out. See you later.